Hello YouTube. In my quest to become a world famous YouTuber and be able to retire to a life of luxury, I understand that you need to do an unboxing video at some time in your life. So it's not a new engine or a complete set of carbon fiber bodywork or a set of Dimag wheels, it's an exhaust. And those of you who've watched some of my other videos, I tried a Leo Vince LV10 dual exhaust. Looked great, thought it was cool. The sound kind of got to me after a while though, and I swear it didn't make much more power, and I even am convinced that it actually lost power. So, and there was some data to back that up. So then I gleefully put on my stock system, did some crappy carbon fiber wrap on the exhaust guard, and said, oh, I'll keep the exhaust stock. And then did a track day and realized how quiet my bike was, and saw on Facebook that Black Widow exhaust out of the UK had a style of muffler that I really liked on sale, and so I went and bought it. So again, a cheaper option. I think it was around, I'll lie about it to anyone who's auditing the books, but anyway, it wasn't that expensive. I think it was about 200 and change Canadian to purchase. No, you know what? I think it was 187 Canadian to purchase, plus $50 to ship. And of course, they use our friends at United Parcel Service, and so then they have their cut. So it's another 50 bucks for brokerage charges, and yeah, I'll pay duty, but UPS takes their cut to have the privilege of delivering my package and doing all this custom stuff. So anyway, just under 300 bucks for an exhaust system isn't bad in this day and age. So anyway, enough of the preamble. This just showed up today from the UK. Amazingly fast shipping. Not sure what kind of camera angle you're getting, trying to cut with one hand and hold the camera. But I ordered this on, I think, a day or two after the last track day. So it arrived within 2 weeks, and just how it fell on the calendar, it's Monday, August 29th. This could have gotten here on Friday the 26th if I would have ordered it a bit sooner. So anyway, fairly quick shipping if you ask me. So there is the open box. There's my invoice. How close was I? Okay, 207 GBP. So that is about 300 bucks Canadian. That included the shipping, and then, oh yeah, then UPS takes their cut. So 350 bucks. And the neat thing about Black Widow is they give you lots of stickers. You get a little lanyard, instructions, extra exhaust assembly paste. This is a clamp-on style, so it doesn't use a slip-fit spring, so this might come in handy. Oh yeah, these are hose clamps for the exhaust guard, link pipe, and the bracket. So let's just see how I do here, if I can actually open up the muffler box. So it's well packaged, that's for sure. Oh, it's stapled. One moment, please. So the lack of my witty conversation during that last segment was because I had the GoPro in my mouth. Alright, so Black Widow sticker here. That is not as secure as I think it should be. Oh shoot, look at that. And it's crooked. Oh well. It's a sticker. Comes with a baffle in there, which can be removed by that cap, so we'll have to see how it sounds. But as you could see, it was very well packaged, came here in one piece. The OCD in me might mean I need to, like, for one thing, the sticker was peeling, and the second thing is it was crooked, so I gotta pull it off. Sorry, Black Widow. Minor detail, but it was on straight in the first place, and it was peeling, so it would have fallen off. Anyway, I don't have any sort of rig to wear this while I put it on the Duke 890R, but these things are fairly straightforward. I'll have the camera handy. If I come across some sort of bizarre situation, I'll be sure to keep you in the loop, but I'll break out my Torx bits and get started. Stay tuned. So here's the stock exhaust system removed. If you're careful, I think you can probably take this exhaust on and off a few times without buggering up this exhaust gasket, but it is it's not something that I think a whole lot of KTM dealers stock, even though they're basically universal with all of their street bikes. When I replaced it on my RC8 that I rebuilt this past winter, I had to order them in, and they took a couple of weeks. So again, they're not common depending on your bike shop, but exhaust is all off. A little pro tip, cake pans. If your significant other or wife or girlfriend or mom is throwing out her old cake pans, steal them from them and use them in the garage. They're great to hold things off the dusty floor, and when you've accumulated as much crap as I have, that and cupcake pans are great for rebuilding carburetors, if you young punks even know what carburetors are. And of course, good old plastic peanut butter jars are good for storing everything else. So like and subscribe for more workshop tips. So partway through the installation process, and I relented and actually opened up the instructions, which is helpful, as they always are. A couple of tips that I've figured out as I'm putting this thing together. Mine came with an exhaust guard. I've seen some with, some without. It might be redundant because I have this heel guard here. But anyway, obviously you'll want to make sure everything's still loose enough to be able to reposition and rotate as you hook this thing up. But you'll want to put this on first before you slide on the exhaust pipe. I wouldn't call it a disappointment so much as how this has been engineered is that they require their own little saddle bracket, or I don't know what you'd call this, because the exhaust does not mount up perfectly to this OEM bracket. But anyway, it's beautifully made. As you can see, it's TIG welded stainless steel, so it's not like it's a hunk of pig iron that they've bolted on that to look. So far so good. Also impressed with the welding around here, and this flange with aftermarket exhaust, like there's a flare and there's a taper, and I've seen some where you really fight to get it to mount properly, and this clamp doesn't always work the way it should. So obviously Black Widow has gotten this exactly right, and whatever flaring tool they've used is bang on, which is nice, because some of the overseas stuff, overseas meaning Asia, is a bit crap. So that's nice to see. Onwards and upwards with the install. James, my boy, what the heck has happened? I think this would be characterized as unforeseen delay. So I started to mount the exhaust to the bracket, and as I was tightening this bolt here, it seemed to tighten up a bit, nip up as the Brits would say. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I should have put another washer. I assumed that this might be some grip length here that the nut was seating itself on, and that, oh, I'll just undo the nut and put another washer in there to make sure you can snug it up tight. This has somehow welded itself. Like, it's just a lock nut, but it is, I don't know if the threads were damaged, but it tightened to a point where it would not tighten up anymore, nor would it loosen off anymore. So I had to cut the damn thing in half to get it off. The whole time doing my best to, because it was still on the muffler, because the clamp had tightened up so much. Anyway, it is the most bizarre thing ever. If I was to try to undo that bolt that I ended up cutting, I would have twisted this clamp here and damaged it, or the bolt would have slipped and wrecked some threads or something. I was well on the way to a disaster. Anyway, they've spec'd M8 bolts for this piece, but you can see that an M10 fits in there a heck of a lot better than a sloppy M8. So luckily, as you can see, I have lots of extra bolts and nuts around. So that is what I've done, is I've found a M10 bolt, went through my nut peanut butter jar, found a nice new lock nut, and I will try again to tighten this on properly. Not cool. Wow, what a production. I remember some university course I took, English, first year, some sort of, I don't know, psalm about, "Oh ye, look upon my works in despair," or something like that. Anyway, so this is what was involved in my installation of the Black Widow exhaust system. Yeah, considering it should have been about a half an hour, I've been out here for over an hour. As usual, the simplest piece of the puzzle was removing the stock exhaust system, and then it went downhill from there. So where we ended up is that, what can I say? The link pipe is excellent, very well put together, nice welding, proper flare. For the sake of, I don't know, I think they could have improved this whole assembly here, but whatever, it works. But to spec an 8mm bolt where it's obviously a 10mm hole is just a bit, I don't know, not great in my opinion. And as you can see on the back side, this top one is the bolt they supplied, too long. And yes, I did check it against the other ones, too long. This is my own bolt that I had to find, so it's obviously too long, and knowing me, I don't know, in a fit of boredom in January when it's minus 38 degrees, I'll probably cut both of these down to the proper length, because it drives me a bit crazy. It does mount up fairly solidly, which is good. I was a bit worried at one point that it was just loose and sloppy, but you need to make sure that this pipe is butted all the way in here, or seated fully, and you don't clamp it at the very end, you clamp it part way up to get a nice good bite. Again, to me, I understand, like, again, this isn't Akrapovic or Aero or even Leo Vinci for that matter, but they've built these for universality, and the price reflects that. So, you know, this is a universal clamp, 52 to 55 millimeters. You know, another company would have put made a nice tighter slip fit, and you know, maybe put some springs on there. But what that means then is that every single pipe and link pipe they make are going to have to accommodate where these springs go. So I get it. I get it. If you know, you're going to pay a premium if you're going to build your exhaust that way. Anyway, unfortunately, and again, this is just me being a bit OCD, but I've got the muffler paste in there, or the exhaust assembly paste. I think it's going to help here. It is clamped down, but they supplied it for a reason. And of course, you don't fire it up until that paste has had chance to dry. So I can't even listen to what it sounds like. So don't worry, I'm not going to make you wait a day for it to hear it. I'll just do some awesome editing here and fire it up tomorrow so you can hear it. But anyway, as you can see here too, that's not ideal. That ideally should be nice and flush. At one point I did crunch it with the pliers. Let's see if that brings it in a bit better. But it's these small details, and I guess if someone asks what's the difference between a $300 exhaust system and a $1,200 exhaust system, I think I've just lived that firsthand. At least this rubber bumper, gasket, whatever you want to call it, buffer, is cut to the proper length. It does have a lip for it to stay in place. I've seen other ones where you somehow have to try to glue it to this and line it up. A Hindle would have that piece cut out, but then again you pay a bit more for a Hindle. So anyway, for a carbon tipped stainless exhaust, it's not bad. I was just really disappointed with the hardware. I just could have gotten one bad bolt that caused this thing to seize here and lock solid. I'm almost curious enough to see why that basically welded itself to the threads. I have no idea, but it was solid. I could not tighten it, I could not loosen it. Obviously you can see, sorry I'm zooming in a bit too much, it's not cross threaded, so yeah, something's up. And again, have the whole length threaded instead of having unthreaded piece or grip length for strength. Yeah, I guess that's the difference. So anyway, oh, and you can also see too, after my sage advice about slipping this on the link pipe before putting the muffler on, I've taken it off. It was just, there was too much here. I might have a bit of a boot issue there, but we shall see. This guard does double duty, I think, here too. So anyway, fairly solidly mounted. It's a few pounds lighter than stock. The volume, I think, should help it sound better than the tinny, raspy sound of the Leo Vince pipes. And yeah, so I guess my installation decision or verdict on Black Widow exhausts is I think it might depend on what you get or a bit of a luck of the draw. There's a guy online that raved about his, said it was easy, beautiful, whatever. Some of the workmanship is very nice. You know, this is all properly put together here. But yeah, I'm just the hardware. Really disappointed in the hardware. I thought they should have at least spec'd something a bit better. So anyway, I wouldn't tell anyone, you know, not to buy a Black Widow system, but just realize that having never installed a $1,200 exhaust system, I think I can understand what the differences might be. Whether or not you can justify charging $1,200 for an exhaust system, that's open for debate. But anyway, oh, and the other good thing too, I can go back and take this off for the third time, I think. I'm not going to cook my blinker on this with this setup. So anyway, job done. A bit longer than it should have been, but bolt-on isn't always bolt-on. Your results may vary, and yeah, in the last bit of this clip, I'll have a sound bite, I think. And again, it's a GoPro, so it may not be the best audio, but you can see that's a pretty restrictive baffle in there, so it'll probably make it nice and quiet, and then I'll take it off for track days.
So it's been 24 hours, or almost 24 hours, since I finished the install of this exhaust pipe here. And as you can see, I've cleaned up the mess on the floor. That was the volcanic eruption of M8 and bolts and nuts and everything else I had lying around because of the aforementioned issue with some of the hardware in the kit. And I rushed home right away. I don't normally work on bikes in a shirt and tie, although I remember seeing pictures in history books of Orville and Wilbur Wright building an airplane in a shirt and tie. This isn't normally what I wear, but anyway, straight home from work. Let's fire up the bike and see what it sounds like. So this is the Black Widow exhaust slip-on with the decat, no decat, sorry, with the noise reducer, the exhaust insert in place. Why don't I just stop talking and fire her up? And because the engine is dead cold and I'm a mechanic, I'm not going to immediately rev the nuts off this thing to hear what it sounds like. I might give it a quick blip here, but I'm also not going to subject you to 2 or 3 minutes of motorcycle idling just for it to get up to temperature. So as I said, now that I have, managing the English language, that's the baffle in, and it's quite pleasant. I know GoPros aren't the greatest for getting a sense of the noise, but a bit of a rumble, a bit lower, but not much louder from stock, if at all. So yeah, I'll take it out on the highway and the roads when I get some time and go for a spin and enjoy the bike and the last few weeks of summer here in Manitoba, and then yeah, pull it out and see what it sounds like with the baffle out. I likely won't add it to this video, but I'll certainly have it done in time for the next track day, which is coming up in about a week and a half. So I guess in summary, I thought about this on the drive home. What can I say about the Black Widow exhaust? Some bits of amazing workmanship for the price, and other bits which are a bit disappointing. So again, that link pipe is beautiful. The can itself is well constructed. It's durable. It's mounted nice and steadily. But I am a bit disappointed in minor things like the crooked sticker that was already peeling, and an undersized bolt, which really should be spec to the right size. I also wonder if they couldn't have done a bit more work in adjusting this so that you didn't have this little outrigger here. But again, it's a nicely made outrigger. It would be lovely if it bolted right up to the stock mount, but maybe this is the same link pipe they used on other KTMs, or maybe on like the 790 Adventure. So anyway, we'll wait for a final evaluation, but in terms of the install, it was difficult, and some of the bits were lower quality than I thought they would be. But again, it's a $300 exhaust system, and we all know how much you can expend on exhausts if you want to. It just, again, makes me frustrated with the guys in the forums that say they got like a unsold 2021 and the dealer included the tech pack and an Acropovic with the purchase price, which simply wasn't my case, and nor would it be, because I'm in a small town in Canada, and I was lucky to even see one of these things on the dealer floor in the first place. So anyway, like we always say, like and subscribe, make me a famous YouTuber, and keep the rubber side down.